Grand day, gems and jewels. I am Corinthia Peoples, and this is Power in My Pivot, where we discuss how the extraordinary becomes extraordinary through the power of pivoting. You know, pivoting means the definition of pivoting is the central point, pin, or shaft on which a mechanism turns. In this content, on this show, the central point is me and you. The pin or the shaft is our lives. And the mechanism is achieving our sought after goals and visions for ourselves. On today's edition of Power in My Pivot, I will share with you 6 points of pivoting for this holiday Thanksgiving season of family gatherings and connections. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Yay. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here in the room, in the house. Thank you so much. So, welcome to Power in My Pivot. Power in My Pivot, you know, it's a discussion. It's like an unfoldment of how along our journeys we've had to continue to pivot, whether that's been voluntarily or circumstantially or out of just sheer survival. Honey, it's a talk of our soul's journey and the evolution of who we are as humans, having a spiritual, having a human experience, being spiritual beings. Welcome all to the room. So just know that this is a interdisciplinary, interparticipatory, disciplinary too, because you know, in our pivot, we have to be disciplined. We have to make our decision, be disciplined, and go for it. But I meant to say that this is an interparticipatory dialogue. So feel free to drop comments in the comment box, in the chat, to add to the conversation and add to the discussion. I welcome that. At this time, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. And for those who just did, thank you so much. And share if you feel that this content, you want this content for others to see other than yourself, right? So just to give you these 6 tips, right? So these are my 6 ways that I would like to share with you of how to pivot and how to be okay during this holiday Thanksgiving season. Number 1, let your no be your no. Previously, Reverend Judy Ann Young talked about setting boundaries. And what I realized for many years, I had asked myself the question of how do I set boundaries? How do I do that? People are always talking about setting boundaries, but I'm like, but how? How do I do this? Finally, it came. Setting boundaries is simply saying no. And your no can be loving. Your no can look like, that's not what I had in mind. Your no can look like, that's not what I envisioned, or not at this time, or simply, no, I can't. I'm not available. I'm not in the space. However, but just no and let it be your no, because what I'm understanding is setting boundaries is so important. And the hardest boundaries for me, what I've observed on my journey, the hardest boundaries for me, and maybe for you too, is setting them with our first family. That's our mothers, our aunts, our cousins, our fathers, our uncles. Setting boundaries is the hardest with the people that knows us so well and that's been the instrumental parts in our lives because we owe them so much or we feel that we owe them so much, so we don't want to ruffle their feathers or taint their perspective of us. But honey, we got to set boundaries with even our families, with even our mothers who birthed us into this world, um, and our fathers. But I always say, I heard someone say that our mothers gave us life. However, we're not our mothers. So just know that as we grow, we can start to look at our mothers as being women, sure women, and having made mistakes and having to navigate their own lives. We can look at them in a different light. So, number one is letting your no be your no, setting boundaries, and being okay with it. Like it's pivoting, we're growing. We're growing into the people that we are wanting to be, that we are wanting to express, and how we want to show up. So, number one is letting your no be your no. Number two, letting your yes be your yes. That's number two. If you say yes, follow through. Do it. Don't back out if you get PO'd, if you get pissed off. No, let your yes be your yes. Even if something goes awry, which oftentimes it does, in your yes, stick. Stick to your yes. Have integrity with yourself because there was something inside of you that wanted to say yes. So follow through with it, even if it causes you minor inconveniences. Let your yes be your yes because that creates integrity. Integrity for who we are. And integrity starts for me on my journey. What I've learned is that it starts first with me and not even outside of myself. So let our yes be your yes. That's number two. Number three is listen more than you speak. There's an African proverb that says we have two ears and one mouth. So I guess that means, I've interpreted that to mean to listen more, listen double time than talking. With this, what I found is that when we listen more than we speak, we hear things that we never heard before. We become more humble because we're listening. We don't feel that we need to interject, add to the conversation. We can just, that's called being. In my opinion, I feel that is how we can be, is by listening more than we speak. Through listening, we hear. And through hearing, we're able to work out the stuff internally in us that we may have not had before, that we have now, right? So listen during these family times, honey, because if it's anything like my family, honey, we've had a lot of healing to do. And there's been a lot of tears cried, especially by me. So now, as an adult woman, I'm choosing to pivot. I'm choosing to pivot first inside of me, two, with my first family. And it all comes up during holiday times, honey. During holiday times, we are triggered. Things happen that was never said, was never resolved, family issues. But listen, let's pivot and listen more than we speak this holiday time for Thanksgiving. That's number three. Number four is you have permission and the right to have an opinion while having peace with others' opinions. I'm going to say that again. Number four, you have the right and permission to have an opinion, your own opinion. You get that. But we also have the right to have peace with the opinions of others, right? So simply saying what we feel that we want to say or how we want to add to the conversation, we get that right. We get that right to show up fully who we are, how we are. I'm going to give myself this holiday season, Thanksgiving, the right to have my opinion and show up fully and authentically. But I'm also going to have compassion to my family and give them the right to have their opinion. And I'm going to have peace with it. See, a lot of times I think what I've done in the past is I wanted people to understand what I was saying, get me, and even maybe agree with me. But they don't have to. They don't have to get me. They don't have to agree with me. I have to know that the thing that I'm doing works for me. You have to know that the thing that you're doing works for you. And if you want to add to that conversation, or you may not want to add to that conversation, but there will be a point when you will add to the conversation. You got the right and the permission to do that. No one gets to shut you down. No one gets to shut me down in our rights and our opinions of things. No, we're not doing that. And we can sit, and that's going back to number one, letting our no be our no. We can simply say, oh, we're not doing that. I have the right to speak my opinion, and I get the right to peacefully disagree with you and yours. That's number 4. Having the permission and the right to have our opinions and having peace with others' opinions. And others' opinions go into that peace. Others' opinions may ruffle our feathers, may bring up old things, may trigger us. Well, now on this holiday season, it's time to work that new muscle to be okay with their opinions. Because, honey, ultimately, if you grown, their opinions will not affect you going home, you sleeping in your comfortable bed, you creating the reality that you want for yourself. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Their opinions are all on them. And we can have peace in it. And you can have yours. I have mine, you have yours. And everybody can be okay with that. But it starts with us first. We can't expect anybody outside of us to change. We got to change from the inside. And then the inside part comes outward. Number 5. There is space. So it's a segue, actually. Number 4 is a segue into number 5. Because number 5 is that there is space in our families and in this world for you, for me. For a long time, I always felt like I had to acquiesce. I had to go along to get along. Just kind of kind of move and groove, not really make no waves or take up too much space. And for those who know me, those close to me know me, that I have a tendency to spread out. In my family, I'm known, they tell me I spread out. This is what they say. Corinthia spreads out. Meaning if I cook, I'm using up cabinet space. Well, I have space. There's space for me. I get to use space. You get to use space. You get to have your space. You know how they say coming into somebody's space, if you're talking too close to somebody or somebody comes into your space, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, hold up, back up. We have our space. Not only our physical bodies have space, but there's our aura around us that takes up space too. And I'm here to tell you today that during this Thanksgiving season and moving forward, there is space for you, for me, and our families, and in this world, because it transcends. What we do with our first family will ultimately transcend into how we show up in the world. So we have space in our families and in this world. We get to have space. Yes, we do. And it's ours to hold and own. That was number 5. Number 6, my last one, is no one is better than you, and you're not better than nobody. Let me say that again. No one is better than you, and you are not better than nobody. This was told to me by a very wise man, in my opinion, my grandfather. When he told me this, and this was recently, he passed this year, he transitioned this year in March. But let me tell you, he dropped some gems before he left. And that was one gem he dropped with me. He told me that I was no better than nobody, and nobody was better than me. Honey, that changed my whole trajectory on how I looked at everything, especially relationships, and especially comparing ourselves to one another. What that does, and what that did for me, is that got me humble. It humbled me down. And it gave me empowerment. It gave me empowerment, and it gave me humility. What a duality to have, baby. That's some powerful thing. When you are empowered and you are in humility, that's powerful. So for this Thanksgiving season, for this time of us spending with our families, just know you ain't better than nobody, and ain't nobody better than you. So all this hierarchical, all this stuff that we do in a family, one over the other, one under the other, not no more, baby. Those days are done. We're done. We're finished with that. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. We're not doing that. We're not doing that, because ultimately everybody gets a space in their own right for them own selves. So nobody is better than you, and you ain't better than nobody. I tell myself that a lot often, especially when we go into judgment. So also catch ourselves. Let's catch ourselves. Let's be cognitive and conscious of our thoughts. Because when we start going into judgment, we got to check our own selves. You ain't better than nobody. And ain't nobody better than you. So let's check ourselves, because you could be that person. I'm talking from the person that could be the one who could be victimized in the family. However, sometimes we're the victimizers. So let's be clear. Let's be clear of what our roles are, and how we need to work on ourselves in order to have the outcomes in the family relationships and the peace within us around our families that's triggered us in the past. That's number 6. So at this time, I want to shout out I told you guys this is a participatory event. So I see Miss Gail. Miss Gail says, yes. Thank you, Miss Gail, for tuning in. I totally appreciate you being here. And Zuri, hey, and Zuri says, thank you, sis. Thank you. You are welcome. It's reciprocatory. Thank you for being here. And I'm glad to be able to be used right now. In this message, I was like, what am I doing? What's happening, in our lives? And when we're pivoting, when we're doing something new that we haven't done before, we often question what we're doing. So I went through a moment of questioning, and I didn't know what I was gonna talk about. But I said, no. How am I gonna be used? Let's change this let's have a paradigm shift, Corinthia. How are you gonna be used? So this came forward in these 6 steps. These 6 steps is what I'm gonna practice myself this holiday time, because baby, I am from a patriarchal lineage. I'm sorry, a matriarchal lineage. There's a lot of women, so there's a lot of estrogen that happens and stuff, and our identities, and how how we move in the world, and we project that on one another. So I'm gonna use these 6 tips myself to navigate and having a healthy emotional state during these holiday times. Please, if you put in the chat, do you have a question? Do you want to make a comment? I am so welcome to that. Thank you for those who have tuned in. I so appreciate you. Um, this is only a 30-minute show, so I'm about to wrap up in about 5 to 6 minutes or less, unless someone in the chat has something to say or you want to just add something. Feel free, please. You're welcome to do that. So, not only do we discuss the problem, we also render a solution. Because I hate when it's like, oh, your mind needs to change. You are the creator of your realities and da da da. But nobody tells you how to change your mind or how to become the creator of your own reality, right? So here on this show, I wanted to make sure we did that. We talk about the problem and we talk about the solution. I want to recap really quick 1 through 6. Number 1, let your no be your no. Number 2, let your yes be your yes. Number 3, listen more than you speak. Number 4, you have permission and the right to have your opinion while allowing others to have their opinion, and you can be peaceful with it. Number 5, there is space in your family and in this world for you. Number 6, no one is better than you, and you ain't no better than nobody else. Those are the 6 tips. I'm going to go back in here. Shauna. Hi, Shauna. Welcome. Love these. Holidays can be very stressful, especially when interacting with your elder family members. Yes, indeed, honey. Yes, indeed. I know. I get you, Shauna. I feel you, honey. They start picking your body apart. Honey, like, oh, look at your hips, girl. You ain't like, or this is the one that kills me. Did you lose weight? I'd be like, did I? Because I ain't even attached to that, right? So again, in that, we could just be like, how are you? Keeping our peace versus defending our position. We don't need to defend our position. We need to know who we are. That's simple. Yes, Shauna. Elders, yeah, honey, we going to have to just, again, we got our opinions. But sometimes the elders ain't going to shift. They not going to shift. But we get to shift. We get to say, Grandma, we ain't doing that. Grandma, that's not what I had in mind. With a smile. So we're going to have to finesse our elders, but yet stand in who we are. Because I respect my elders, honey. I was raised to respect my elders. I respect my elders. I call women who are older than me, Miss, men, Mr., Dad. I respect my elders. But that don't mean that they get to walk over me, nor you. And we can, with a smile, keep our peace and set our boundaries, even with our elders. Absolutely. We get to do that, but we got to be ready. Okay. This week's health tip. The health tip for this week, y'all, go outdoors without a mask and breathe fresh air and trust with all that's within you that you are safe and you are not under attack by the Rona. Can I say that again? Go outdoors. And it could be at the park, wherever you need to do, whatever, however, but do it. Go outdoors without your mask and get fresh air and trust with all of your being that you are safe and not under attack by the Rona, baby. It is mandatory and necessary that we breathe fresh air and not be in fear. We have to breathe fresh air and not be in fear. Yes, y'all. Yes, I'm saying it. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. We need fresh air. We need vitamin D. We need to breathe fresh air. It's necessary. And we have to know that we're not under attack by the Rona. Rona, AKA Corona. Okay, we got to know this. Get out, breathe some fresh air. That is this week's health tip. Now, in closing, really, in closing, I would like to read an inspirational reading for you. I want to read an inspirational reading for you. It is a book that I've had for many, many years. It is my go-to. It is called Faith in the Valley by Ayanla Van Zandt, and it's numbered by dates. So for the inspirational reading today, I want to read to you November 21st in closing this edition. Know your friends, and then you prosper. Know your friends, and then you prosper. This is a quote by the Maximum of Philosophy. Abundance has absolutely nothing to do with how much money you have. Abundance is about feeling rich and having rich feelings. Abundance is rich relationships, rich experiences, a rich mind, and rich ideas that provide you with a sense of meaning. To understand abundance is to create what you want without fear. Abundance is knowing the glass is always half full, no matter what is going on. Abundance is feeling good about who you are, where you are, and what you have, because you realize you don't have to stay there. When your mind is in abundance of ideas, when your hearing is in abundance of love, when your life is in an abundance of good people doing good things with you and for you, you are rich beyond words. Abundance begins in mind, extends to the deeds, and bring rewards you can bank on, even if you cannot put them in the bank. The quotes, my abundant source is unlimited. Yes. So that is our inspirational reading for the week. What inspired me this week? Every week I give you what inspired me. So what inspired me this week is taking a mental health break and breathing fresh, good, natural air. Taking a mental health break, meaning just pause. I gotta stop. I can't do it. I gotta take a mental health break. That is what inspired me, is just to stop. We're so busy doing. Stop. That inspired me today, was taking a mental health break and breathing some fresh air, honey. So wait, do we have some more? I always do. Yes, and Zuri. And Zuri, I love you. And I love Ayanla. I bought that book for my sister years ago. I'm going to get one for myself. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Nzuri. Thank you for chatting up and adding to the conversation. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. And yes, that book is the business. I've had it for years, honey, and it's tattered. Let me show you it. It's all funky and tattered. Honey, this is years of doing my work, of doing the work, of wanting to grow, wanting to do a new thing. So I want to close out by saying Power in My Pivot is a live broadcast that happens every single Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for tuning in and showing up, baby. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's pivot from basic to bona fide, and always remember that we are no better than nobody else, and nobody else is better than us, because there is power in your pivot. Till next Saturday. Thank you. Greetings, Annetta. Greetings, Miss Gail. Till next time. See you. Happy Thanksgiving.